I will do this in the next class. Mm, I will read the question paper, but in each block you have a introduction of that time period, and then you have two novels, two different types of novels. Same as in this 20th century British literature, in this black, the black 3, 20th century fiction. Uh, there is an introduction in the unit 7, 20th century fiction, especially a description about the modernist novel. Modernist novel. In this modernist novel, we have two novels in Unit 8 and Unit 9. Virginia Woolf's Mrs. Dalloway and Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. These two novels we have here. Yesterday we.
Sir,
Yesterday we.
good afternoon,
Yeah.
sir. Sir, yesterday you told
Ah,
for us page number
ah,
82.
82.
Next, technical features. Next class you will discuss. You told.
Page number
Page,
82. Yeah, technical features. No,
technical
already
features
I
for.
discussed this features.
Sir?
I told you already. I discussed this. I discussed this. I will tell you the page number in the previous class, not today's class. I
Yesterday.
will tell you the page. Uh, Yesterday, what did I say?
Next class you will discuss that topic.
Next class, I discussed this topic. Huh?
Yes, sir.
No, but actually,
Uh,
okay, fine. I might have said it, but it is there on the page number 46. Page number 46. Page number 46. 4.3. Elements of fiction. Elements of fiction. Elements of fiction. Elements of fiction. Did you see? 4.3. Page number 46. Unit 4. This is what I told you. Yeah, this is all
yes,
the
sir.
narrator point of view. Within the point of view, we have the three types of point of view: first person, second person, third person, and then next the characters and style. After that, this is called, then the next page, page number 48. It is the plot, PLOT plot. PLOT plot. So here on the page number 82, why I said like that, already we have discussed about these elements, these technical elements, the plot and structure, characterization. These three things are there here in the page number 82. I told you to elaborate for your understanding, and look at this page and read them once. You will come to know how to analyze this text. So that is why I might have said like that in the page number
Okay.
82. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right. And in the today's class, the 7.2, page number 94. 7.2, page number 94. There is a lot of influence on the modernism that comes from the French Revolution. After French Revolution, and the French was and is a key place in a literature. Especially, this is a hub of European thoughts. The French is. French plays, especially when it comes to the modernism, and this place also played a key role. And if you can remember, in other subjects or in the very beginning of the English literature, you must have come across a word called Renaissance. Renaissance means rebirth. It is the 14th century development, 14th and 15th century development that gives a new idea, new form in everywhere, in arts, literature, culture, history, architecture, buildings, in every form of expression. It added a new thing in the Renaissance, in the era of the Renaissance. The Renaissance means a rebirth. The rebirth comes with the idea of what is humanity. There is a human touch, emotional touch, psychological touch that has given during the period of a Renaissance. So the French was and is playing a key place and a key role in circulating a different kind of new perspectives in every art form and every cultural form and in every expression. Same as in the modernist novel also, it played a key role. It played a key role. The idea of modernism, it propagated. No, propagated is a wrong word, but it circulated into different forms and different perspectives. So that is what here it is discussed with a couple of writer names and with their works. And especially here they are also discussed about the our famous person James Joyce Ulysses, the stream of consciousness. And here they discussed about a novel by Edward Dujardin. Edward Dujardin. Edward Dujardin. Here, this person is there in the Edward Dujardin. Uh, on the page number page number 94, lost paragraph. Symbolist novel. His novels are symbolist novel. Symbolism. He used symbolism in the modernist expression. This is in the page number 94, lost paragraph. You can see this. You can see this about this person, the Edward Dujardin. On the last paragraph on the page number 95, it continued on the first paragraph. You can see that is the speciality of an interior monologue. A speciality of an interior monologue. Interior monologue. It is there. This is the speciality of this person. On the last paragraph on the page number 95, not in last in the sense, the above the 7.3, if you the Dujardin knew that his invention remained a poetic device, which is how he defined interior monologue. Interior monologue. Interior monologue is like poetry, unheard, unspoken speech, through which a character expresses his most intimate thoughts, closet to the unconscious, prior to all logical organization. That is to say, as it comes into being by means of sentences in direct speech, reduced to their syntactic minimum in order to give the impression of raw experience. So this is, please underline this paragraph. It is there on the page number 95, second paragraph. It is a continuation because in this section this person is an important person. French influence on modernist novel. On the page number 94, last paragraph, page number 95, first two paragraphs. In the first two paragraphs, the second paragraph is dealing with the idea of interior monologue. You may have a short question: what is interior monologue? Who used it or who introduced it? This is one thing. And because this guy is from the French, no, what is his influence on the modernist novel? So you can use these two paragraphs about this person. And another point is that in the page number 94, in the second paragraph, if you look at the term modernist is was used by 1872 around the time of Peter's Renaissance. And please underline this point. These two sentences. These two sentences. And the first paragraph, in the first paragraph, for example, if you can observe, it is there in the 1872. Can you see that number in the first paragraph of 94, page number 94? 1872. This digits, can you identify?
Yes, sir. In September 1872.
Before that, the above line, it was Warline. It was Warline who used the term modernism in September 1872. Please underline this. Please underline this. This may come in your fill in the blanks or something like that. Nice of okay. This is about looking into dimension of 20th century novel. Because as we have discussed, there is a lot of changes emerged during the period of a time because of the psychoanalytical theory developed by Sigmund Freud and his disciple Carl Jung and Lacan. There are other psychologists developed their psychological theory, and they looked at human behavior and human predicament and human pain and pleasures from a psychological perspective. From a psychological perspective, when the people were being oppressed or suppressed, when they don't have a voice, when they were being slaves, and when they were considered as a secondary people persons in the gender wise or the race wise, age wise, that time the people always talk to themselves, they look into themselves, they cannot express their views and their opinions outwardly. So these kind of peoples were existing. So same kind of characters we can see in the fiction also. These people cannot talk outwardly, but they can speak to themselves. They can speak to within themselves, and that kind of ideas are portrayed or created by the authors in the name of a psychological novel genre, because they look into themselves, they look into themselves. Such but when we are in a real life, we cannot we can see a person, he is a calm person, but we cannot guess what he is thinking and what he is expecting things from others, or what kind of life he was dealing. These things we may not guess in real life. But when the characters are portrayed in the fiction from these people, we come to know that okay, these kind of people are suffering with this kind of a problem, that kind of a pain, traumatic and introvert, extrovert, these kind of people, these kind of people's behavior we come to know in the novels. And this is emerged as a new genre, psychological genre and stream of consciousness genre, psychological as well as stream of consciousness genre, that are dealing with the human psychology and associated problems and pleasures and expressions. This is what it is discussing in the page number 7.3, sorry, unit 7.3, page number 95. It starts with the two techniques you should remember: stream of consciousness. Our lady, the famous one of the early feminist writer, the Virginia Woolf, she also started writing about the women issues uh, with help of this genre, stream of consciousness. Yesterday I have spoken how the way we think as a human beings, the same way there is a writing in the novel, because it's a bits and pieces, fragments. Sometimes at this moment we are here, but we think another place. Suddenly we think of something else. Suddenly we may think of our childhood. Suddenly we may think of our future. Suddenly we come back to the class and browsing our pages, textbook pages. So these kind of 4 or 5 activities will do at a time. So it is very difficult to write these kind of things in the novel in a writing form. But some writers, they made it very dexterously. They have written and presented the human nature in a wonderful manner to understand the other people. So that fragmented nature is the dealing with this stream of consciousness is one of the narrative techniques. The mind receives a myriad of impressions: trivial, fantastic, evanescent, or engraved with the sharpness of steel. From all sides they come, an incessant shower of innumerable atoms, and if could base his work upon his own feeling and not upon convention, there would be no plot, no comedy, no tragedy, no love interest or catastrophe in the accepted style. So this is how they have written the psychological and stream of consciousness novel. This is the main idea and motive to express. their feelings. And another important things you should remember, this person name is Henry James. Henry James, he has written a book. He's a psychologist. He has written a book, Principles of Psychology, in 1890. Principles of Psychology in 1890. This book is very, very important. And at the same time, in this book, he mentioned a phrase called mind wandering. Mind wandering. This exactly aptly suits to the this kind of what is this stream of consciousness genre. Mind wandering. Mind wandering to describe a mental state in which we open ourselves up to the swarm of a sense data bombarding consciousness at any given moment. Mind wandering indeed seems an apt description for Woolf's techniques in this passage. Yeah, they have given an example here. Just you can look about these things, this mind wandering concept. The Mrs. Dallaway, also the upcoming novel which we are going to study, also discuss the same concept. And another thing is that the psychology and stream of consciousness, madness, the word madness or the behavior, because madness is related to the psychology, psychological behavior, a person's behavior. We call them as a madness. So there is a lot of madness. There is a lot of madness was existing in the fiction, 20th century fiction, especially in the modernist fiction. The madness also, the mad people, they have a different language we cannot understand. They have their own language that they express it. So through their language, through their behavior, we coin the people, or these people are the mad people, like that. So actually that is related to the psychology as well as the language related, that madness. So madness is also one of the important concept in the 20th century modernist novels. This madness happened due to their trauma, due to their oppression, due to this uncomfortable with the ongoing generation or ongoing social and cultural developments. They may not be cope up with them, or they may be they may be very much upset with the ongoing developments. Such things may lead to them, either it is a personal or a cultural or a social. There could be a lot of things for the madness. Such things were we can see in this time period of journals, fictions. Yeah, this is what they have mentioned here on the page number 97. If you look at page number 97, uh, the second paragraph, the stream of consciousness novel is based on the ideas regarding psychological time given by Bergson. The central point of Bergson philosophy was his belief that each individual consciousness has its own uniqueness and its own during. It was his conviction and philosophy and culture as a whole had refused to recognize this by confusing time with space. These are the opinions of Dr. Bergson. You can take this paragraph also into your consideration. Henry Bergson. There is a question on the page number 97. Question number 17 and 18. You can get the answer in the end of this unit. How Henry Bergson defines relationship between fiction and reality. Yeah, another one is on the page number 74. Yeah, now it's 3 o'clock. Is my voice audible? If you cannot listen, please disturb me.
Audible, sir.
Okay. Yeah, here in the page number 74, this person frequently appears. James Joyce, page number 98, 7.4. In this place, it is talking about one of the important writer who used the stream of consciousness as a genre in his book called Ulysses. Ulysses, Ulysses, Ulysses. James Joyce. This is talking about his writing style and his influence and other people, other co-authors of the time period, what they have written and how they influenced his writing, or else how he inspired other writers through his style and the way he chose the language and the way he expressed his own narrative style, the style of his expression. Everything is new. Everything is new. So that is why still this novel is considered as one of the classic in the stream of consciousness. If you are Telugu people, you can read a novel. If you have time after this exams or some other time, since you are a literature student, you should also know this. There is a novel called Ampashaya. This is the 1980s. It is written in the 1980s. It's a Telugu novel, Ampashaya. The novel name is Ampashaya. It is also translated into English, Thornbed, Thorne, Thornbed, bed, bed, Ampashaya, Thornbed. Ampashaya Naveen, it is written by Ampashaya. This is one of the famous stream of consciousness novel in Telugu language. It seems, I hope it is if I am not wrong, this is the first novel, Ampashaya. This is about a student life, one day, a student life in Usmania University. A student life in Usmania University. The story is only related to the one day, but it talks, it goes further, future, it goes back, and this and that. The time shifts, time periods are shifts. So that is the style of stream of consciousness. So another one where you are, yeah. So this is about the stream of consciousness. That's enough. And 7.5, if you look at conflictual modernism, a study of D.H. Lawrence, a study of D.H. Lawrence. This is end of the Victorian era to entering into the modern era period, a conflictual relationship with a literary modernism. Within modernism, where there are novelists and novels who are modernists yet very difficult to categorize as modernists. D.H. Lawrence is most prominent among them. While defining these modernist novelists, it is pertinent to say, can fiction be modernist when it aims to help us to recapture a pre-modern or even primitive relationship with nature and with our own bodies and dissolve boundaries between the self and the world. This question was emerging. This question was emerging when the people were writing. Is it really a modernist novel, or is it really representing a modernist characteristics or the features? Or else are we talking about the previous things, the pre-modern era or the primitive era, when we are not uncivilized, the quote and unquote uncivilized, the primitive era, the native time periods? So what is it talking about? Where we are looking at such kind of a questions it emerged during this period of time. And among these arguments, the D.H. Lawrence is one important person. He is also a novelist, a very famous novelist, D.H. Lawrence. And he talks about a cultural regeneration. Cultural regeneration, use this term. Cultural regeneration means that the new cultures are emerging based on the old cultures. We are practicing the gist, or else we are following the same lines, but we are applying in a different context. So that is how the new cultures are emerging, the new cultural uh, generations he is talking about in his book. And also self consciousness for Lawrence is an awareness of self as a separated from the natural world, a mental condition arising from the influence of modern rational scientific thought with its dualisms and harsh delineation of subject and object. This is very important. Cultural generation, regeneration, and self consciousness. These are very important terms in D.H. Lawrence novels. D.H. Lawrence novels, and the social consciousness also. Self consciousness means that's an individual consciousness. In this individual consciousness, even though we are being part of the society, our individual nature is different. We may not fit into the social context. Sometimes, even though we like it or not, we are being and becoming part of the society. But when it comes to our personal space, we maintain our own individuality, our own feelings. Either we support or deny the social norms, such kind of a things. And when it comes to the social consciousness, whatever our kind of a position, either either class wise, gender wise, or else our psychological behavior wise. But when it comes to the social consciousness, we are automatically we are aware of the social societal things and social consciousness, and we try to fit into them whether we like it or not. And that is also he incorporated in his novels. The social consciousness can only be analytical, critical, constructive, but not creative, sensational, but not passionate, emotional, but without true feeling. Without true feeling. He is talking about this psychological point of view, the self consciousness and social consciousness, and as well as the real individuals. He termed one thing, the modern novel contains no real individuals. No real individuals. The modern novel is complicit in the process whereby the real individual lapses out, leaving only the social individual. He is talking. So, because of the social influences and all the things, the slowly the individual person is losing himself, and he tried to become the social person, social conscious person. So, because why it is happening, the social circumstances are forcing him like that, and there is no individual value and individual feelings that are not getting proper recognition or respect. In such way, he was discussing about these things, and as well as he has another concept called the novel and the feelings. The novel and the feelings, because they are dealing with the psychology. You can read them here on the page number 100. And page number 181, you can see this fill in the blanks. Fill in the blanks. This lady Chatterley's lover, for example, D.H. Lawrence. He used a lot of sexuality in these novels. Other day we have discussed. Yeah. When it comes to the page number 101, 7.6, the woman modernist study of Dorothy Richardson, May Sinclair, and Gertrude Stein. These three are the important women uh, in their writings, in their styles. They are representing the genre of modernism. They are considered as the modernist writers. And in this section, you can look at their style of writing and their characters. Then their important books are discussed under this section. You can read them. And another title here on the page number 103, non-European modernist, a study of CLR James, Claude McVey, and Nella Larsen, Gian Thomas. These are the non-European modernist writers, and in this section they discussed about their writings contribution, as well as their influences. They influenced and being influenced by other authors. Such things were discussed in this area. Yeah, about these three people. And please, there are many fill in the blanks and short answers, around 35 questions. So that means this unit is a little important. Please pay attention on this. The fill in the blanks are one sentence questions. If you read them, the answer is available in the textbook. The questions and answers both are there in the on the page number 105. The questions may split it into different pages from the beginning of the unit to ending of the unit. We have the 35 bits, and the answers also available from the page number 105. Answers to check your progress from 105 to 108. You can see them, and the questions also related to the same thing whatever we have discussed topic wise. Fine. Now we'll look at the eight, unit 8, Virginia Woolf, Mrs. Dallaway. This is important. Compulsory question. I may guess. Compulsory question from this unit, Mrs. Dallaway. Mrs. Dallaway is a psychological novel that deals with the stream of consciousness. Very, very important. Stream of consciousness. One second. I'm sorry, I'm not able to screen because I'm due to the rains. I'm not getting the internet properly. I am using my mobile in this mobile, uh, so not able to. Hello, is my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. And now we'll look at, yeah. Now we'll look at the Unit 8, page number 110, Virginia Woolf, Mrs. Dallaway. In this unit, we are going to learn about uh, Virginia Woolf and her background, her importance in the literature, and at the same time, Mrs. Dallaway novel. I am not going to read the summary. You should read the summary on the page number 113, 8.6, page number 113 to 114. This 8.6 subsection is covering the entire novel summary. I'm going to discuss about the themes and style of the novel and this genre of the novel we are going to discuss. The author, Virginia Woolf, she is a very, very, very famous person, especially when she wrote a non-fiction, A Room of One's Own. That is the idea that kindled to write about the woman and the feminist perspective. And her father is a Sir Leslie Stephen, an eminent scholar and a biography. You can see her biographical information on page number 1111, 8.2 about the author. About the author. And the good thing is that her father encouraged his daughters to read and educated, yet deprived them of higher education simply because he considered it, it unnecessary for women. In those days, this was the standard phenomena. The women education, women for women education is not required, and anyway they are going to be wives of someone, and better to look at this marriage business rather than the education. That was the standard notion. That's what she discussed all these things in her book, and she critically attacked the angel in the homes, the angel in the home. So this was a famous slogan and a poem that is representing the Victorian era. These things in her books to write the thing, and the third, the this another way in her attitude how developed this treatment of women as lesser individuals hurt Woolf endlessly. She grew up witnessing more and more of this brutal inequality between men and men in her society, especially in the reluctance to allow women to be educated and to pursue careers on their choice. Uh, so this is her opinion. In the second paragraph, you can see in the last lines, Woolf embraced the true to life technique with much vigor. Almost all her novels use the stream of consciousness technique. She excelled in the art, and her works are considered to be among the finest in terms of the in depth and unhindered use of the technique. Which technique? The stream of consciousness technique. Also, Mrs. Dalloway to the Lighthouse, Orlando, and The Waves are considered to be masterpieces in English literature. Also, her essay, A Room of One's Own, is considered to be one of the pioneering and path-breaking works in the field of feminist criticism. This is about her. And here in this novel, in the Mrs. Dalloway, it's a psychological novel. It's a psychological novel, but the people use it to the. It's bit different to differ. The novel is a psychological novel or a stream of consciousness novel because both are dealing with the psychology. So that's why there is a slight confusion. Um, Here, especially in this novel, in the Mrs. Dalloway, the events which contribute to the plot of the novel are concerned with the predicament of its characters, which eventually reflect the social, cultural, and political fabric of London at the time, especially that period of a time. This may not be applicable for everything, especially she is representing her own time period. Her own time period. The novel highlights the emptiness pervading all relationships, social and familial, and the mental agony it can cause to sensitive individuals in modernist society or modern society. The novel also throws light on the depressing impact of World War I on individuals who participated in the war and faced death and destruction from close quarters and returned with memories of the death, horror, guilt, futility, and their family members who also had to share and bear the burnt of the war torn lives of these half dead and partly insane individuals. So these lines are very, very important because it is talking about the half insane, because they went near to death situations because of their participation in the wars, the First World War, and some people become the mental people. They were in the mental asylums, and people were near to the death. They have seen lots of the close relatives and family members death in front of their eyes. That leads them into depression and trauma, and some people are returned with the memories. Psychologically, they were very disturbed kind of a people, and not only the individuals who participated in the war, their family members also disturbed by looking at these people. So that is why there was a psychological uncertainty was existing during that period of a time. There is a social unrest due to the war and psychological unrest due to the war participants and their problems and with their pains. This was the situation was existing during that period of a time, and that time the novel is also a critic of just upcoming mental asylums and the profession of psychiatry, which often tended to treat the victims of war and psychiatric patients not as individual human beings first, and but as a general category of mentally sick objects. So, and she's also criticizing that every time and everywhere, these people are the doctors, the psychiatrists are treating them as a mental patients. But when they are not looking at the individual perspective, why the person is being like this, why he's destabilized his mental setup, they are not looking at him. They are giving a common treatment to everyone. Actually, in psychology, in psychiatry, this is not a help to recover the patients and to understand their problems. This is also she expressed in her book. And another important point in this novel is dealing with it has an historical background. The historical background is In other days, we have spoken about this is the period of that experienced at least around 100 years of the industrialization, the wheel, the industrialization, the chimneys, the people are working, the new emergence of the middle class, and this industrialization developed a new lifestyle. Industrialization developed a new lifestyle comparing to the earlier lifestyle. In the Victorian era, people were cool, calm, and the harams as they sit in the chair and look at the beauties and all these things. But when the industrialization comes, it is a fast-paced society. Everyone is participating in the industrialization. Everyone is earning the money. There is a new class emerged, that is middle class, and the rural areas are slowly vanishing, and rural areas are becoming the urban areas or industrialized areas. Due to this industrialization, the cities are expanded and urbanization is developed. People started a new lifestyle, and they are slowly removing their old traditions. And when they are economically independent, the people behavior also changed. Especially the woman is becoming a individual person. When she is becoming an individual person, she is taking her own decisions, and that is also changed the other gender, the male domination perspectives. There are a lot of changes happened during this time period uh, of this novel. And also the what is this, the domination of the god. Now I'm sorry use this word, but the idea of god is slowly reducing because of the science and technology development. There the invention and the discovery of new medicines for the diseases. So people are using them rather than having a simple faith in the God and believing in the churches. This is also one of the major development happened during that period of a time. And the horrors of the World War also played a key role. And this time period is also called as a experimentation and individualism. Yeah, the idea of individualism is emerged during this period of a time. So this is a historical background. The modernism in the literature and art. The modernism is a new concept that changed the perspectives by incorporating different human aspects, and it incorporated multicultural attitudes in the novels, in every art forms. In essence, modernism refers to the modernist movement characterized by a sharp break from traditional ways of living and thinking that played out in Western societies towards the end of the 19th century and lasted well over half of the 20th century. The modernism is that is existing in the thinking, especially thinking and traditional way of living. So it challenged. And in addition to the understanding the impact of modernism on literature, it would also help to understand the indelible mark also on the art, music, architecture, and so on, because it has a it influenced on every field, every artistic, cultural, and literary field. And there are some authors, and please look at this check your progress for because there the this match the following. It's very important. And in another page 113 also there's the fill in the blanks, like the who was the author of Ulysses, these things. Yeah, it discussed about the stream of consciousness. I spoke a lot of things about the stream of consciousness, so just read them. Another one is this the plot summary of the novel of Mrs. Dalloway. And here the important themes on the another page. Please read the summary on your own. And page number 8.7, it deals with the themes. It deals with the themes. These are the themes. And look at these some important characters in the Mrs. Dalloway. Just I'm reading the characters. Sir William Bradshaw. Sir William Bradshaw. He is a famous psychiatrist. is a famous psychiatrist, Sir William Bradshaw. And another character is the Clarissa Dalloway. She is a woman, 51-year-old, protagonist of the novel. She is the wife of Richards, and another character name is Elizabeth Dalloway. She is the mother of Elizabeth. She is a very self-conscious about her role in London high society. She is a very much aware of herself. That is her nature. Clarissa Dalloway and Elizabeth Dalloway is Clarissa and Richardson 17-year-old daughter, Elizabeth Dalloway. And Richard Dalloway is another character, is the husband of Clarissa Dalloway, because our story is from the Clarissa Dalloway perspective and point of view. So she's the main protagonist. And next we should look at Elizabeth Dalloway. And another one is Sir William Bradshaw, is a psychiatrist. Richard Dalloway is husband of Clarissa Dalloway. This is a simple person. He's a simple husband who feels disconnected from his wife. He is immersed in his work in government. He is a workaholic person. And Miss Killman, Miss Killman, she is the Elizabeth's school mistress. Elizabeth's school mistress. She has her own role. And Sally Seton is another important character. And another important character is Septimus Warren Smith. Septimus Warren Smith. Septimus Warren Smith is a World War veteran. He participated in the World War and he is suffering with shell shock. Shell shock means the bomb sounds. Bomb sounds. He is a traumatic patient. Whenever that's always frequently appear in his mind. So whenever he remembers that memories, he is becoming a insane. Is a mad person. He is married to one woman called Lucrezia. These things available in your story. Read them. Yeah, another one is Peter Walsh. Peter Walsh is a Clarissa's old friend. Peter Walsh is a Clarissa's old friend. These are important characters. And when we look at the themes, the time is one of the important themes. The time plays an integral role in the theme of faith and doubts in Mr. Dalloway. The overwhelming presence of the passing of time and the impending fate of death for each of the characters is felt throughout the novel. The idea that there can be meaning in every detail of life and deeper appreciation of life as a result is emphasized by the constant connection of characters to memories and to simple ideas and things in the context of the time here. And this is also happened like the time is the time frame of the novel, which takes place in the course of a single day, like James Joyce Ulysses. This is also a one-day story. And another one is the mental illness. Another theme is that mental illness. Mental illness, we can see this theme from the perspective of the Septimus character, because he was suffering with the shell-shocked war hero. Another point is that existential issues, existential issues. And another one is the communication, the urgent need of a communication, because there is no proper communication between the people. It is a psychological communication, it's a behavioral communication, not the telecommunication. The people are not sharing the things, and there are no people to share them on the other hand. And here in the paragraph, if you look at it in the page number 115, 8.7.1, throughout the novel, the character of Clarissa, Septimus, and others are found struggling for means of communication and adequate privacy at the same time. A middle course balancing the two seems very difficult. Why, without having the communication, why people are suffering within themselves, and how they killed at the the end of the novel or middle of the novel, because lack of the communication. This is what it is discussing in the communication and privacy. And at the same time, uh, this is also dealing with the Shakespeare, because there are many characters. The stories, names are inspired from the Shakespeare dramas. We can see them here. The names, the Satan, Septimus, Lady Burton, Richard Dalaway, all these are somewhere around closely connected with the Shakespearean themes or names, like that. Another important point in this unit is that this Mrs. Dalloway is a feminist novel and as well as a psychological novel. Because why it is a feminist novel? It is thinking and talking about the women's perspective, because the writer Virginia Woolf has written this novel, and her main concept is a room of concern. In the Mrs. Dalloway also dealing the woman way, or the problems and the situations that are surrounded and around the woman in this novel. So that is why it can be considered as a feminist novel. We can say the way she deals with the protagonist Clarissa. Uh, she deals with the way she deals with issues related to personal freedom, personal space, as extremely important for women if she is to have a perfect piece of life through the character of Clarissa Dalloway, as they are for a man in any society deserves appreciation. So this is how we can call it as a feminist novel. Mrs. Dalloway is a novel that is centered on the way same idea and portrays a new woman who, unlike the Victorian ladies, does not wish to be confined within the domestic sphere, but is capable of, as men, to take strong decisions and independently carry out her wishes. So that is why it talks about the new woman and individuality and independence in this novel. These points are discussed in the page number 116, 8.8. And another one is Mrs. Dalloway is a psychological novel, because why it is a psychological novel? It comes in the during the time period of a World War One. It deals with the trauma, psychological emptiness, and psychological emptiness. Woolf use here the multiple symbolisms and controversial subject themes as her way of dissent against the female oppression, with equal emphasis on the internal complexities of the female world. And there is the character, the Septimus Smith, is a perfect example of such the psychological thing, because he is suffering with a trauma, that shell shock is a mental patient here, and psychological horrors it deals with, and also the suicidal tendency. For example, if you look at in general way or from this novel perspective, the suicidal tendency is also a psychological disorder. And here the character Septimus committed suicide at the end of the novel. So because of these things, expresses and says that this novel is a psychological novel. And here Virginia Woolf exposes the dilemmas, frustrations, and subjectivity and sexuality and demands for the identity, privacy, and freedom of women in a traditional and hardcore patriarchal society. So these are also leads to a kind of a within the internal confliction. So that is why we can say this as a psychological novel. Yeah, that is about this unit 8, and you can see the all important fill in the blanks and match the followings in the end of the unit, page number 117 to 118. There is a sample question here. explore the Mrs. Dallaway as a psychological novel, write about those four characters, her husband and the doctor and the Septimus and Mrs. Dallaway herself and about her daughter. Talk about them. What is the stream of consciousness technique? This information is there on the particular section I showed you, and maybe it's the third or fourth subsection of this unit. Yeah. So unit 8 is completed, and now we are into unit 9. Hello, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes. This unit 9 is Joseph Conrad, Heart of Darkness. Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. This novel is also a modernist novel, and also we can talk about here in this novel the three new concepts are there. One is existentialism, post-colonialism, along with the modernism. Existentialism, post-colonialism, and modernism. This novel is a combination of three things. It's about Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. The darkness is everywhere, according to the author. Okay. This novel is a very complex novel. It deals with many issues. We should learn about the author, who is this Joseph Conrad, and what is his complete name. It is there on the page number 120. Joseph Theodor Conrad Kozinski. He is a Poland. He born in Poland. He is a Polish person, and his father is a Apollo. Father name is Apollo. This is his background. It is available on the 9.1. Why he started writing? He worked sometime. He was a traveler. He worked in the military sometimes. So those things are discussed here in the 9.1. And look at his important novels. Joseph Conrad works. It deals with racism also, because it is dealing with the sea voyages and politics, historical events, politics, and he's talking about a river, a country. These things are there in this novel. Actually, earlier this Heart of Darkness is appeared as a serial in Blackwood's magazine in 1899. 1899. It was eventually published as a whole in 1902. It's published as a novel in 1902, but it started as a serial in 1899 in a magazine called Blackwood's Magazine. This you should remember. Yes. This novel he returned is based on his personal experience, because he was also a traveler on the sea. So from the experiences, he wrote this novel. We can see his personal impressions. As Conrad writes of the novel in his 1917 introduction, The Heart of Darkness, his experience pushed a title beyond the actual facts of the case. This is there in the introduction, and you can read this summary. Here on the page number 9.3, the main characters from this unit, and I want to tell you, from this unit, either Dalaway or this Joseph Conrad Heart of Darkness, compulsory the question will come. Compulsory, there will be a question from this block. Maybe the features and characteristics of the modernism, and the stream of consciousness novel, stream of consciousness novel as a genre, or else they may ask you why the Mrs. Dallaway is considered as a or called as a stream of consciousness novel, like that, or else this novel, the Joseph Conrad's The Heart of Darkness, why it is a post-colonial novel, what is the concept of the existentialism. These things uh, you will you need to write in your examinations from this unit, and this information is available here in the on the page number 126, post-colonial understanding of the heart of darkness. Read this for the concept of post-colonialism, because this deals with the racism, and this is dealing with the British government politics and the colonies and the life, how it was there with the different classes. Such things is discussing under this section. Issues of race in Heart of Darkness, and please this combine together 9.6 and 9.7. So you can get a very good answer if you read these two subtitles. And why it is called as a psychological novel, then you can talk about this the main character Marlowe's. Here the main character, the protagonist name is the Marlowe, a 32-year-old sailor who has always lived at a sea. Actually, this character is emerged from the Joseph Conrad's life experiences. Look at them. And before reading this book, first you look at this in page number 124, 9.3. These are the characters, because there are many characters, you may get confused. So first read these characters, then next read the plot of the novel on sorry, the page number 122. Then you will come to know what kind of novel it is and what it is discussing about. Then later, now you discuss about whether it is a post-colonial novel or a psychological novel, or what kind of race issues it is dealing with, what are the black people and who are the white people, and what is the relationship between them, and what kind of incidents and events took place to come to a conclusion. Either this is a modernist novel or a post-colonial novel or a existentialism related novel. These things we can come to know. And the concept of existentialism in the Heart of Darkness is here. This I will discuss it tomorrow for 10 minutes. Yeah, this is about unit 9. I will discuss existentialism and a bit of post-colonialism. And meanwhile, you can read this unit, author's biography, and the characters, plot. Then you will come to know why this
Sir,
novel.
whose biography? Sir?
This Joseph Conrad's biography. Joseph Conrad's life. It is there
Okay.
in the page number 129.1. So where
Okay,
he
sir.
born, what was his profession, who are his parents, because they are very important, because they worked in some in a colonial place, and his birthplace is a different one. He has a Russian origin. He born in the Poland, but the experiences are coming from the Africa, where these English people are ruling that time as a colony. He met a lot of Africans, the black people, and their experiences, the traveling experiences. It's a very mixed genre of this novel. It's a post-colonial study. When we look back ourselves, what kind of persons we were, and why we are being like this today. The comparison from there, are we the same people, or else we are just pretending like someone else? So these kind of things are dealing with the post-colonial identity. Those are part of this novel, Heart of Darkness. Okay. Yeah, this person is sending.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm binding up here.
Thank you.